Okay. Nemo always bounces back.
Alright, the Kraken versus the Konig. This is a decision a lot of people make, and there's a lot of strong competition between these two. This video will serve not only as a competition between them, but also a full review of both knives. This is my Kraken that I personally own. It was a gift from my lovely girlfriend. Thank you very much for that. And for the Konig, I'd like to give a huge thank you to flippin' Zenqi. I'll leave all his links in the description because he let me borrow this and we temporarily traded from one of my other knives. So let's get right into this. I'm not going to talk too much about the exact specific specs because I believe they're both basically the same. If not, the Kraken is a little bit better, but I'm not honestly too sure about that. And honestly, the specs don't truly matter when it comes to a flipping experience, in my opinion. How we're going to do this is we're going to talk about Kraken first, then the Konig. So let's start with the Kraken design. Design and machining is where the Kraken immediately takes the lead over the Konig for me. 90% of what is so good about the Kraken comes down to its handles. The Kraken handles are honestly the best handles I've ever felt on a Balisong. They're super smooth, they feel super nice in the hand, but the most important part is that they have some of the best grip I've ever felt. The Kraken handles are beautifully designed to have the perfect amount of grip every single place you could possibly want it, especially on the 2.5 Krakens. Along the entire face of the handle, you have a really nice texture. Of course, you have the very distinct Kraken line down the front, which also has the 3 holes in it, which lets you know exactly where you are on the knife at all times. And my fingers usually slide pretty nicely into these holes when doing a lot of tricks. Along the side of the handles is where a lot of companies, including NRB with the Konig, fall very short. But Squid does this perfectly. They have one straight line, which I absolutely love. It's a super simple change, but it provides you just enough grip for those tricks that manage to use that side surface. Then you have the jimping, which is some of the best done jimping I have ever seen on a Balisong. A lot of companies seem to think that just adding jimping is good enough, when in reality, your jimping has to be good. If you compare the Konig and the Kraken jimping, you'll see the Konig jimping only goes down about an inch and the lines are very tight and close together. Meanwhile, the Kraken jimping is much longer, much deeper, and the lines are farther spread apart. This gives you so much grip compared to some of the other companies that do jimping like NRB and machinewise. The Kraken jimping is honestly the most useful jimping I've ever felt, and I can do ladders on this thing better than I can on any other knife. I'm not amazing at ladders, but I can do them the best by far on the Kraken. Overall, the Kraken is built very well. Out of all of Squid's products, maybe besides the Tsunami, the Kraken is definitely the best built and the best made. The hardware is great, it was tuned beautifully when I got it. Overall, tolerances are amazing, and it's just a really solid knife. The Kraken also offers you a level of customization that you don't get on the Konig, because there's a bunch of colors, a bunch of limited drops, but then you also have the different blade styles, the trainer blade, and other companies like Hourglass making trainer blades. There's even people like Gold Dust on Instagram who are putting speed channels into the Kraken. The cool thing about the Kraken is that so many people own them that you can find just about anything you want for them. Accessories like the anchor, you have the end caps, which a lot of people are starting to make. There is so many things you can do to customize your Kraken and really make it your own. But let's move on to the Konig, because design-wise, this is a very interesting knife, and it is not what I thought it would be when I first got it out of the box. First of all, the first thing to note when you get this and to be prepared for is that it is very slippery. The cutouts are alright, they do provide a decent amount of grip when you're holding them, but especially down the sides of the handles, and if your hands aren't touching those cutouts, it's just gonna fall right out of your hand. I don't know what it is, I think it's just the finish NRB uses, but this thing is so hard to keep in your hands. For me, it's when my hands are dry that it gets the most slippery, but for some people it's the opposite. When their hands get sweaty, it gets slippery. But the main feature of the Konig, the reason people want to buy it so much, is the adjustable weight system. And to put it simply, yeah, it's really cool. Honestly, I do really like the adjustable weight system. I think just having them screw in is the best way to do it. You don't have to take anything apart. You don't have to disassemble your knife to put new weights in. You just screw them in, and when you're done, you just unscrew them. It's perfect, it's super easy, and I love it. Now, they are only little stainless steel weights at the bottom of the handle, so you can't drastically change the feeling of the knife. It still definitely feels like a Konig, it's just slightly differently balanced. So if you don't like the Konig handles overall, changing the weight is not gonna make you like it. But overall, the Konig is very light at 4.0 ounces, even 3.9 ounces if you use no weights at all. But the main thing is that it's a little small and it's very thin. The Konig handles are weirdly small, and I wasn't ready for it when I got it out of the box, so honestly, at first, I didn't really like it. It's a little hard to see unless you have them side by side or you can compare them in your hands, but the Konig handles are just thinner, they don't have as much chunk to them, and I'm a person who really likes big handles and big knives, so the Konig just didn't quite vibe with me at first. Now later on things kind of changed, which I'll get to in the flipping portion, but note that out of the box, it's going to be a little weird and you're going to have to get used to it. But one of the things I do really love about the Konig is its weight. At 4.0 ounces, it is a perfect balance between being light enough to flip fast and have fun with it, but also the weight helps it carry momentum and do a lot of tricks very well. If you ask me, the Konig has one of my favorite blade profiles ever. I think this thing looks so cool. And even the trainer blade, which now exists, keeps that swoop that goes in the back, which I absolutely love. So design-wise, the Kraken wins. Overall, better machining, better design, better handles, and I think overall the Kraken will satisfy a lot more people. But let's talk about the flipping, because that is where this competition gets pretty tough. So flipping the Kraken. You've heard about it thousands of times because everyone owns one and everyone flips them. The Kraken, in my eyes, is the Balisong. It's the one that if you have $300 to spend on one knife and that's it for the rest of your life, the Kraken will be it. It is very standard, very predictable, and very easy to flip. The grip on the Kraken handles make it absolutely amazing for learning new tricks. And I honestly can't think of a single flaw about the Kraken overall. The Kraken is overall a very enjoyable experience to basically everyone, and there's a reason so many people have one and so many people use it as their main knife. The Kraken is one of the few knives I would call an overall 10 out of 10 flipping experience. It's nothing crazy, it's not going to reinvent the way you think about Balisongs, but everyone can flip and enjoy a Kraken. Personally, I don't ever see myself getting rid of this thing just because even if I do have something that I like flipping more, like my Maryn Light, the Kraken for learning or just casual flipping is just completely unmatched. The Kraken is insanely smooth, one of the smoothest Balisongs I've ever felt. I don't know what Squid did to this thing, but it is absolutely amazing. The Konig is a little different because I don't think everyone will like this knife. It's weird, honestly. The handles are really thin, it's super slippery, and the adjustable weight is something that is really fun, but once you find your perfect weight, you don't really tinker with it too much. I personally like to use either no weights at all or the biggest weights because I like things either perfectly neutral or aggressively handle biased. And I find myself using the big weights because the Konig doesn't really get to that perfect neutral spot that I like. At least I couldn't get it to feel that way. So I default back to the decently strong handle bias that the biggest weights give you. Now the biggest thing about the Konig that I like a lot is that it's fun, it's fast, and again, it's very light. While the Kraken overall is great for casual flipping or just learning a ton of different tricks, if you are a fast flipper and you like to whip your balis around like it's nobody's business, the Konig might be your best friend. It has that quality that NRB is known for, while being lighter and faster than most other live blades on the market. Over my few months of flipping, I've started to gravitate towards knives that are bigger, but also lighter. That's why I love my Maryn Light so much, and that's why I'm reviewing something soon that I like a lot too. So the Konig is kind of weird for me because it checks one of those boxes, but not both of them. So which one you should get really does come down to preference, because the Konig is more fun of a knife. I will say that. It's more unique, it's more fun to experiment with, but overall when it comes to raw flipping experience, the grip and the smoothness that the Kraken gives you is just completely unmatched. Now that I've tried both in my hand, and now that I've tried a bunch of other knives, the Kraken does remain my one solid pick, as if you can only buy one Balisong for the rest of your life, just get a Kraken. Other things like the Konig and the Maryn might be a little more interesting and fun. The Kraken just checks every single box you could want out of a knife that isn't something preference-based like balance or weight. And if you already have something very standard like a Squid trainer, then going with a Konig would actually be a pretty solid option. It'll change things up a bit and it'll give you a new experience. But again, if you're limited on knives you already have, or you want that one end-all be-all knife, the Kraken is just the way to go. I do really like both of these knives, and I think both of them are very good for the price that they're at, but in my personal opinion, I think the Kraken is worth a little bit of extra money. Thank you all so much for watching. I have a ton more videos coming soon, so be excited for that. Let me know down in the comments which one you prefer if you do have either of these. Make sure to check out Zenqi. This video would not be possible without him lending me his Konig. And if you do want some custom artwork like my profile picture, my lovely girlfriend who gifted me the Kraken is doing custom digital artwork. I'll leave her link in the description as well. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.